This is the early morning of the 29th of July, 2024. Time now is 20 to 4 in the morning. There's just so much going on. This clip was published on June the 22nd, 2024, put up by Prime Discovery. Titled, Christopher Walken finally breaks the silence on Natalie Wood's death, leaving the world shocked. Drowned off the coast of California island decades ago, there are few Hollywood mysteries more enduring or more heartbreaking than one surrounding Natalie Wood's tragic death. Her death has been the topic of tabloid speculation, TV specials, and books that explored whether she was the victim of a homicide. Although an accidental drowning seemed fully plausible, nagging questions lingered for those paying attention. What truly happened to Natalie Wood, and how did she end up dead? Join us as we unveil how Christopher Walken finally breaks the silence on Natalie Wood's death, leaving the world shocked. Plays for 28 minutes and 9 seconds. Don't know how much of it I'll play, depends on what's stated, but you'll have the link if I don't play the entire clip. Sit back and have a listen.
A ticking clock on justice, just days away from the 40th anniversary of Natalie Wood's mysterious death.
Drowned off the coast of Catalina Island decades ago, there are few Hollywood mysteries more enduring or more heartbreaking than the one surrounding Natalie Wood's tragic death. Her death has been the topic of tabloid speculation, TV specials, and books that explored whether she was the victim of a homicide. Although an accidental drowning seemed fully plausible, nagging questions lingered for those paying attention. What truly happened to Natalie Wood, and how did she end up dead? Join us as we unveil how Christopher Walken finally breaks his silence on Natalie Wood's death, leaving the world shocked. Natalie Wood, Hollywood's beloved. It's hard to forget the mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of actress Natalie Wood in 1981, while she was on a boat with her husband, Robert Wagner. Natalie Wood emerged as one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses, her life a mosaic of cinematic brilliance and personal tragedy. Her story, from a child star to a celebrated actress, is intertwined with both the allure of stardom and the haunting tragedy that still captivates the public's imagination. Her introduction to the limelight came early, thanks to her mother, who harbored ambitious dreams for her daughters. At the age of 4, she appeared in her first film, Happy Land. However, it was her role as the young expectant orphan in Miracle on 34th Street that catapulted her into the heart of America. Her innocent charm and remarkable talent for such a young age marked her as a star in the making. Transitioning from child actor to leading lady was a feat that few could manage, but Wood did it with grace. Like most actors, she had career ups and downs, and her output wasn't prolific. Fans remember the classics and ignore the low points. Younger generations may not know most of her work, but might remember hearing about her death. It was a lonely and sordid ending for someone who had been in the public eye most of her life. Wood played many characters who were true blue reliable, and others who were high-strung and neurotic. In every case, audiences liked her and wanted to see her have a happy ending, which is just one reason why real life is tougher than movies. However, how did she achieve strange immortality even after her death? And what makes Natalie Wood's case special, with officials redefining her death 3 decades after? Natalie Wood's background. Natalie Wood was born Natalie Zakarenko on July 20, 1938 in San Francisco, to Maria Zudilova and Nicholas Zakarenko. Her mother, also known as Mary, Marie, and Musia, hailed from Barnaul, where her family owned soap and candle factories and an estate. Following the Russian Civil War, her family fled to China, settling in Harbin as refugees. Maria was previously married to Armenian mechanic Alexander Tatilov from 1925 to 1936. They had a daughter, Olga, and moved to the U.S. in 1930, divorcing 6 years later. Wood's father, Nicholas, was a carpenter from Ussurisk. Her paternal grandfather, who worked at a chocolate factory and fought against the Bolsheviks, was killed in Vladivostok during the Civil War. After his death, Nicholas's widow and 3 sons fled to Shanghai and later moved to Vancouver, eventually settling in the U.S. By 1933, Nicholas and Maria met while she was still married to Tatilov, and married in February 1938. 5 months before Wood's birth. A year after her birth, her father changed the family name to Gurdon. In 1942, the family purchased a home in Santa Rosa, California. It was there that young Natalie was discovered by a film crew during a shoot downtown. As she embarked on her acting career, RKO executives David Lewis and William Goetz changed her surname to Wood to appeal to English-speaking audiences and in tribute to filmmaker Sam Wood. Natalie had one full sibling, a sister named Svetlana, born in 1946 in Santa Monica.
An ad popped up, I'll get rid of it.
Svetlana later became an actress known as Lana Wood. Note Natalie Wood as a child actress. Natalie Wood's first screen appearance came at the tender age of 4 in the March 1943 release of The Moon is Down, based on John Steinbeck's book. Shortly thereafter, she was cast in a brief 15-second scene in the film Happy Land, released in 1943. Despite the brevity of these parts, she quickly became a favorite of director Irving Pichel, who helmed both films. Pichel maintained contact with Wood's family for 2 years, alerting them to potential roles for Natalie. He eventually called Wood's mother, urging her to bring Natalie to Los Angeles for a screen test. This prospect excited her mother so much that she moved the entire family to Los Angeles, despite her husband's opposition. Wood's father's objections were overruled by his wife's overwhelming ambition to make Natalie a star. At 7 years old, Wood secured the role of a post-World War II German orphan in Tomorrow is Forever, released in 1946, starring opposite Orson Welles and Claudette Colbert. During filming, when Wood struggled to cry on cue, her mother tore a butterfly to pieces in front of her to provoke the necessary tears. Welles later praised Wood as a born professional, saying she was so good she was terrifying, and noting that Natalie doesn't act from the script, she acts from the heart. Following this success, Wood continued to work with Pichel, starring in The Bride Wore Boots. She then moved to 20th Century Fox, where she played Gene Tierney's daughter in The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, released in 1947. Natalie Wood transitioned to ingenue. In the 1953-54 television season, Natalie Wood played Anne Morrison, the teenage daughter in The Pride of the Family, an ABC situation comedy. She also appeared as a teenager in various television episodes, including The Pepsi-Cola Playhouse, Public Defender, and General Electric Theater, where she described the episode Carnival as one of the best things she ever did. Her early film roles included The Silver Chalice in 1954 and One Desire in 1955. Wood transitioned from child star to ingenue at 16, co-starring with James Dean and Sal Mineo in Rebel Without a Cause in 1955, directed by Nicholas Ray. This role earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress and was the first project she chose herself, against her parents' wishes. She continued to appear in TV anthology shows and had significant roles in films like John Ford's The Searchers and A Cry in the Night, both in 1956. After graduating from Van Nuys High School in 1956, Wood signed with Warner Brothers and was cast in numerous girlfriend roles, which she found unsatisfying. The studio paired her with Tab Hunter in The Burning Hills and The Girl He Left Behind, both in 1956, and later with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. in Bombers B-52 in 1957. Wood then took on a prestigious lead role in Marjorie Morningstar in 1958, portraying a young Jewish girl in New York City struggling with her family's social and religious expectations while seeking her own identity. Natalie Wood's peak years of stardom. Tibbets observed Natalie Wood's evolving acting style across roles like Rebel, The Searchers, and Marjorie Morningstar, noting her transition from childlike sweetness to a restlessness emblematic of the 1950s. Following her role with Frank Sinatra in Kings Go Forth, Wood faced career setbacks, including a suspension by Warner Brothers. After watching A Streetcar Named Desire, Wood's perception of acting shifted, influencing her portrayal of characters exploring vulnerability. Despite criticism, Elia Kazan saw potential in Wood and cast her in Splendor in the Grass, marking a career resurgence. Kazan recognized Wood's depth, casting her for her innocence and underlying sensuality, leading to her ability to transcend earlier roles and tackle more complex characters. At the age of 25, Natalie Wood received her third Academy Award nomination for her role in Love with the Proper Stranger, joining Teresa Wright as the youngest individual to garner 3 Oscar nominations. However, this record was later surpassed by Jennifer Lawrence in 2013 and Saoirse Ronan in 2017, both achieving their third nominations at the age of 23. However, Wood showcased her versatility in two comedies alongside Tony Curtis, Sex and the Single Girl and The Great Race, the latter featuring Jack Lemmon and Peter Falk. Her proficiency in Russian proved advantageous for her character Maggie Dubois in The Great Race, where she recorded the progress of a race across Siberia and participated as a contestant. Director Sidney Pollack praised Wood, stating, "When she was right for the part, there was no one better. She was a damn good actress. Her performances in Inside Daisy Clover and This Property is Condemned, both alongside Robert Redford, earned her Golden Globe nominations for Best Actress." During the mid-1960s, she stood among Hollywood's leading stars alongside Elizabeth Taylor and Audrey Hepburn. Despite commercial success, Wood faced criticism for her acting. In 1966, she received the Harvard Lampoon Award for Worst Actress of Last Year, This Year, and Next. Remarkably, she attended and accepted the award in person, earning praise from the Harvard Crimson for being quite a good sport. Following the lukewarm reception of Penelope, Wood took a 3-year hiatus from acting. She cited the film's challenging production as a source of distress, recalling physical and emotional anguish during filming. By 1966, she sought therapy to address her emotional struggles, paying Warner Brothers to cancel her contract and dismissing her entire support team. In 1969, she married Richard Gregson and focused on her mental health and personal well-being. Natalie Wood's marriages. Natalie Wood's two marriages to actor Robert Wagner were highly publicized. They first married on December 28, 1957 in Scottsdale, Arizona, when Wood was 19. On June 20, 1961, the couple announced their separation in a joint press release and divorced 10 months later on April 27, 1962. Following this initial marriage, Wood dated several high-profile men, including Warren Beatty, Michael Caine, and David Niven Jr. She was also briefly engaged to Venezuelan shoe manufacturer Ladislav Blatnik in 1965. On May 30, 1969, Wood married British producer Richard Gregson after nearly 3 years of dating. They had a daughter, Natasha, born on September 29, 1970.
Too many
Another ad just popped up. I'll get rid of it.
Wood filed for divorce from Gregson on August 4, 1971, and it was finalized on April 12, 1972. After a brief romance with future California Governor Jerry Brown, Wood resumed her relationship with Wagner in January 1972. They remarried on July 16th aboard the Ramblin' Rose, anchored off Paradise Cove in Malibu, and had a daughter, Courtney, born on March 9, 1974. In 2015, former FBI agent Donald G. Wilson claimed to have had a 4-year affair with Wood from 1973 to 1977, starting when she was pregnant with Courtney. Wilson discussed the alleged affair in a 2016 documentary for the cable network Reels. Robert Wagner, Natalie Wood's husband. Beyond his acting career, Robert Wagner's personal life often mirrored the dramas of his on-screen roles. His marriages, particularly to Natalie Wood, were the subject of much public fascination and scrutiny. Their story is one of Hollywood's most talked-about romances, marked by passion, breakups, and tragically, a mystery. Looking back at Robert Wagner's journey in Hollywood, his life seems like a classic film script, full of ups and downs. He quickly became one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood in the 1950s and 1960s, captivating audiences with his looks and charismatic presence. Not only did his on-screen performances capture the public eye, but his off-screen relationships and marriages also kept him in the spotlight, contributing to his long-lasting fame. In Prince Valiant, he skillfully donned a wig and a sword, but it was his natural charm that truly won over the audience. His ability to adapt and shine in diverse roles, from war to romance, was remarkable. Notable among his television roles was his portrayal of Jonathan Hart in Heart to Heart, alongside Stephanie Powers, which captured the hearts of viewers and became a staple of 1980s television culture. However, despite all his success, Wagner's life has not been without challenges. The death of Natalie Wood in 1981 cast a long shadow over his legacy, with lingering questions and suspicions following him for decades. Yet throughout it all, he maintained a dignified presence, choosing to focus on his work and family. As he entered his later years, he continued to work, appearing in guest roles on television and even lending his voice to animated features. His memoir, Pieces of My Heart, a Life, published in 2018, offered a candid look at his life, love, and reflections on a Hollywood that had dramatically changed since his early days in the industry. Natalie Wood's fear of dark water. Suzanne Finstad's 2001 biography of Wood alleges that from early childhood, Wood's mother had filled her with a fear of dark water because a fortune teller had prophesied that Maria would drown, and she transferred this and many other fears to her child. When filming The Green Promise as a 10-year-old, Wood was terrified to play a scene in which she had to cross a bridge over raging water, a bridge that was rigged to collapse the moment she reached safety. Her mother assured her that it would be perfectly safe, but when she reached the midpoint of the bridge, it collapsed, and she was thrown into the water, barely clinging to part of the bridge. Director William D. Russell yelled, "Keep the cameras rolling," while the terrified child with a broken left wrist struggled in the water. Her fear of water became such a phobia that friends and family recall she was afraid to have her hair washed and had recurring nightmares about drowning. And again, at the age of 14, because of a last-minute script change, she was given the choice of jumping off the back of a boat or losing her role in The Star with Bette Davis. She jumped and immediately became hysterical. Finstad's insistent pursuit of this and other themes from Wood's childhood gives validity to her thesis that Wood was her mother's creation. Maria transformed the child-born Natasha Zakharenko into the movie star Natalie Wood by brainwashing her daughter with fantasies and fears. Natalie Wood robbed of her childhood. Because Natalie Wood was a minor during her early years as an actress, she received her primary education on the studio lots wherever she was contracted. California law required that until age 18, child actors had to spend at least 3 hours per day in the classroom. According to Harris, she was a straight-A student and one of the few child actors to excel at arithmetic. Director Joseph L. Mankiewicz, who directed her in The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, released in 1947, said, "In all my years in the business, I never met a smarter moppet." Wood remembered that period in her life, saying, "I always felt guilty when I knew the crew was sitting around waiting for me to finish my 3 hours. As soon as the teacher let us go, I ran to the set as fast as I could." Wood's mother continued to play a significant role in her daughter's early career, coaching her and micromanaging aspects of her career even after Wood acquired agents. As a child actress, Wood received significant media attention. By age 9, she had been named the most exciting juvenile motion picture star of the year by Parents magazine. In Finstad's account, Maria was portrayed as an overbearing stage mother who controlled every aspect of her child's life, neglecting her other daughters in the relentless pursuit of Wood's success. She coerced her daughter into seeking favor with influential individuals and threatened her with consequences if she failed to remember her lines. The book alleges that Maria arranged for her 15-year-old daughter to be involved with 38-year-old Frank Sinatra. A friend expressed disgust, likening Maria to a pimp. 2 years later, Maria turned a blind eye to Wood's affair with 43-year-old Nicholas Ray, which ultimately secured her the lead role in Ray's film Rebel Without a Cause, marking the beginning of her mature career. Despite enduring a challenging childhood and facing difficult experiences in her youth, Wood went on to become a prominent figure in films like Splendor in the Grass, West Side Story, and Inside Daisy Clover. In the last years of her life, she found great happiness in her second marriage to Wagner, whom she referred to as her one and only, her fantasy fulfilled. She was also known to be a devoted and loving mother to her 3 daughters. However, Finstad reveals that Wood led a double life. Despite projecting an image of confidence and carefreeness to the world, she continued to be haunted by the fears, obsessions, and conflicts instilled in her by Maria. These internal struggles remained hidden from public view. Natalie Wood's death and burial. After Thanksgiving in 1981, Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner began planning one of their frequent boat trips to Catalina Island, off the coast of California. According to several interviews in Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind, Wood invited multiple friends to join them on the trip, but most declined due to the less-than-ideal sailing weather that weekend. Wood's Brainstorm co-star, Christopher Walken, who was in town for the film, but not from Los Angeles, was the only person to accept the invitation. He joined Wood, Wagner, and Dennis Davern, the captain of the couple's yacht, Splendor.
Another ad just popped up. I'll get rid of it.
Evening of November 28, 1981, Wood, Wagner, Walken, and Davern enjoyed a champagne-filled dinner at Doug's Harbor Reef restaurant in Catalina before reboarding the yacht for the night. Don Whiting, the night manager of the restaurant, later expressed concern that all four were too intoxicated to make it back to the boat safely in their dinghy. He even asked Kurt Craig of the Harbor Patrol to ensure the group returned safely to their yacht when they left the restaurant at 10:30 p.m. The toxicology report, released after Wood's death, revealed that she had a blood alcohol content of 0.14% at the time of her death. In the HBO documentary, Wagner describes having a heated conversation with Walken after dinner, during which Wood was not present but was believed to be safe elsewhere on board. Around 11:05 p.m. that evening, other passengers realized that Wood had gone missing and began searching for her. They also discovered that the boat's dinghy was gone. On November 29, 1981, at 1:30 in the morning, a ship-to-shore call was made, and 2 hours later, at 3:30 in the morning, the Coast Guard was finally contacted. This delay in calling for assistance has drawn significant scrutiny from investigators. Marty Rulli, co-author of the book Goodbye Natalie, Goodbye Splendor, emphasized the importance of examining this 4-hour gap in the timeline in an interview with CNN. Around 8 in the morning, Wood's body was discovered approximately a mile south of the couple's yacht, off an isolated cove known as Blue Cavern Point. Natalie Wood was laid to rest in the serene grounds of Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. Despite the solemnity of the occasion, her funeral attracted intense attention from international media, photographers, and members of the public, all seeking to pay their respects. However, strict protocols meant that all attendees were required to remain outside the cemetery walls. The gathering drew a host of luminaries from Hollywood's golden era, underscoring the profound impact Wood had on the industry. Among the notable figures present were iconic stars like Frank Sinatra, Elizabeth Taylor, Fred Astaire, Rock Hudson, David Niven, Gregory Peck, Gene Kelly, and Elia Kazan. Notably, Laurence Olivier made a special effort to attend the service, flying in from London to pay his respects to the departed actress. Christopher Walken's statements about Natalie Wood's death. Christopher Walken found himself entangled in Natalie Wood's enduring mysteries aboard the yacht Splendor, alongside Natalie Wood and her husband Robert Wagner, on the tragic night of Wood's death. On November 28, 1981, the trio, accompanied by the yacht's captain, Dennis Davern, embarked on a weekend trip to Santa Catalina Island. The evening unfolded with heavy drinking and a heated altercation between Wagner and Wood, with Walken reportedly caught in the crossfire of their escalating tensions. Maintaining a public reticence, Walken has largely remained silent about the events of that fateful night, fueling speculation and intrigue for years. Despite the ambiguity surrounding Wood's death, initially ruled as an accidental drowning, recent statements from Walken have shed new light on the tragedy. In a rare move, on September 1, 1997, Christopher Walken broke his silence regarding the night of Natalie Wood's death, offering his perspective on the events leading up to her tragic passing. During an interview with Playboy magazine, Walken provided an account of the evening that aligned with the initial findings of investigators. In his interview, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Walken reflected on the circumstances surrounding Wood's death. Anybody there saw the logistics of the boat, the night where we were, that it was raining, and would know exactly what happened. You hear about things happening to people. They slip in the bathtub, fall down the stairs, step off the curb in London, because they think that the cars come the other way, and they die. You feel you want to die making an effort at something. You don't want to die in some unnecessary way. Walken continued, sharing his perspective on what transpired that night. What happened that night only she knows, because she was alone. She had gone to bed before us, and her room was at the back. A dinghy was bouncing against the side of the boat, and I think she went out to move it. There was a ski ramp that was partially in the water. It was slippery. I walked on it myself. She had told me she couldn't swim. In fact, they had to cut a swimming scene from Brainstorm. She was probably half asleep and she was wearing a coat. However, Walken's statement hasn't quelled all doubts. Although on November 30th, 1981, Dr. Joseph Choi, a deputy medical examiner at the Los Angeles Medical Examiner's Office, conducted an autopsy on Wood. Noting her elevated blood alcohol levels and the presence of several bruises on her arms, legs, and face, which were believed to be consistent with a fall overboard while attempting to board the dinghy, the office ruled the death an accident, as reported by the Huffington Post. In addition, on November 17, 2011, 30 years after her death, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened its investigation after receiving additional information from unidentified sources who contacted the authorities. November 18, 2011, in an interview with NBC's Today, Dennis Davern said he lied about Wood's death when he was originally questioned by police. He also claimed that Wagner was responsible for the tragedy. On January 14, 2013, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department officially changed Wood's cause of death from an accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. The change came after investigators determined that some of the bruises found on Wood's body during her initial autopsy may have been sustained before she drowned. However, coroners said they couldn't definitely confirm when exactly the bruises were inflicted. On February 1, 2018, Robert Wagner was officially named as a person of interest in Natalie Wood's death for the first time. This disclosure came from Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Lieutenant John Carina during an interview with CBS News 48 Hours. In 2020, the documentary Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind, Wood's daughter, Natasha Gregson Wagner, confronted Wagner on camera about speculation regarding his involvement in Wood's death. Wagner denied the accusations, and Gregson Wagner emphatically supported him, stressing that she does not believe he was in any way involved in her mother's death. However, Christopher Walken's statements and the ongoing investigation underscore the complexity and enduring fascination with Natalie Wood's death. While Walken asserts it was an accident, his request for confidentiality with the detectives suggests there may still be untold aspects of that night, continuing to captivate and perplex those intrigued by this Hollywood mystery. Natalie Wood left us legacy. Natalie Wood bridged the eras of old Hollywood and new Hollywood. Her role in Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice in 1969, a successful film that came after a period of professional and personal setbacks, cemented her status as an actress who was part of both cinematic worlds. Wood also found success on television, most notably in the miniseries From Here to Eternity in 1979, for which she won a Golden Globe Award. Throughout her career, Wood appeared in 56 films for both cinema and television. Although critical acclaim for her performances was sometimes limited, she consistently found work, showcasing her enduring presence in the industry. Despite her professional achievements, Wood's legacy has often been overshadowed by the intense scrutiny of her personal life. The circumstances surrounding her death, her highly publicized marriage, divorce and remarriage to Robert Wagner, as well as her relationships with various actors in the 1960s, have drawn considerable attention. Additionally, her struggles with mental health and her often troubled relationship with her mother have contributed to this focus. According to her daughter, Natasha Gregson Wagner, the speculation and focus on her death have overshadowed her life's work and who she was as a person. While Wood's contributions to film and television remain significant, the public's fascination with her personal life has sometimes eclipsed her professional accomplishments. Nonetheless, her successful transition from child star to acclaimed actress and her ability to navigate and thrive in both old and new Hollywood mark her as a remarkable figure in the entertainment industry. Thanks for watching.
I think that Robert Wagner was insanely jealous of her relationship and her past relationship, and I think that he thought that she was involved with Christopher Walken, and in a fit of rage, he killed her. I'll attach the link. Look at it. Let me know what you think, and thanks for listening.